Hello folks, welcome back to the channel, and here we go. We're going to take off from Humberside Airport in MSFS 2024. The weather today is quite dodgy, as you can see here from the radar picture, and that's something I friggin' love about, well, MSFS 2020 and 2024, is the weather depiction. The way the rain moves with the wind is absolutely amazing. It's a very special thing about this sim. I'll just do a touch and go so you can see some of the different cloud formations here. And yes, we are back in the 57 PPD module, the Crystal Super. And for very good reason. Quite honestly, I absolutely love this module. Even though I appreciate it's not going to be for everyone. It really isn't. But, you know, I guess it makes sense because I've always been about raw clarity in a headset first. It's the thing that excites me the most when I try out a new VR headset with a higher resolution. And even though field of view is really important as well, I always favour, look at this, wow. I always favour visual fidelity and eye comfort first. That's got to be the first thing that's, you know, right in a VR headset. And once that's kind of sorted, then widen the field of view out. But of course, we are all different, aren't we, you know? But I did not expect to really gel with this module as much as I have. I've been using it non-stop. Look at this. Right, this right here is what I love about Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, you know, I do love flying an X-Plane 12, but it cannot compete with this. Even look, we've got a rainbow appearing in the middle there because we've obviously got a slight kind of, we've got two massive rain showers, and in the middle here, the sun's slowly getting through and creating a bit of a rainbow. It's ever so slight though. That is, oh, just mind-blowing, isn't it? And that's exactly what it's like in real life. In fact, as I say, this is the real weather of yesterday. I'm using historical weather at the time of this recording, which is the 5th of September. And yeah, I really do friggin' love this module. I think it's my favourite module of the Crystal Super. Because I just can't get over the amount of clarity you can get in this headset. It's funny because when I said in the video, my first impressions, that there is a slight increase, I think it's more than that. Because I did go back to the standard 50 ppd module after doing that massive 3-hour test, which is on the channel, by the way. Once I went back to it, I could just definitely tell that the clarity isn't quite as sharp. It's something that you're not going to notice unless you're someone like me who really sort of hones in on the gauges and that finer detail. I think for a lot of you out there, it's probably not going to be as important as a better field of view. And even more than that, I also think the sweet spot in the 57 ppd module isn't quite as good. You do need to have it. Whoa, what's going on here? You don't need to have it. What's happening with the... You see the altimeter? It's going crazy. Is that due to the turbulence? I'm not sure. But yeah, it's there is a bit of a difference there. But you know what? Forget about visual fidelity for a moment and all the rest of it. And look, you can see here the box, the eye tracking box, as I'm going through this cloud layer, which is working really well. The big deal for me about the 57 ppd module, which is the biggest thing, it's even better than the visual fidelity, is the performance. It really is the performance. It's absolutely butter smooth. And actually, I think if you've got a lower spec GPU that's not quite going to cut it with the standard Crystal Super, you should go for this module based upon performance alone. Because I am getting almost, well, at times, 15 frames per second more in this module compared to the standard 50 ppd module. And that's simply because you're getting a lower field of view. I can just see the runway. This is now sweeping across now. So we're going to try and do a touch and go here. I think I'm going to have to scud run underneath this as it's sweeping across. That is absolutely spectacular. But in terms of measurements, for my eyes at least, because it might be different for you, the standard 50 ppd module, I'm getting 126 degrees horizontal. And I think it's around 102 degrees or so vertical. With the 57 ppd module, my measurements using test HMD is 104 degrees horizontal. So a lot, that's quite a bit of a difference there. A lot narrower. And around, I think it was 96 degrees vertical, something like that. So there is a difference. And I think for a lot of you out there, that's going to be a big deal. And I still think, even being this excited about the 57 ppd module, I think for most of you out there, the standard module will be the best one to go for because it has the best of both worlds. You have a better sweet spot, you have better field of view, the clarity is still fantastic, although you do get a lot less performance, it must be said. The performance difference is pretty big, I mean, look, 15 frames per second in VR, between 10 and 15 frames per second is a big deal, especially in a flight sim. So I think that's something you'll have to factor in as well. But for me, the 57 ppd module has absolutely blown me away. I mean, looking at these gauges is insane. And you know what? I even tried to super sample the 57 ppd module, close in the dynamic foveated rendering scaling so that I'm at 0.3. If you don't know how to do that, I've got a video on the channel. Basically, the window that I'm looking at, which is high resolution, I've basically made that smaller to give me even more frames per second, then super sampled the headset to 1.5. I mean, friggin' heck, man. That is way sharper than anything I've ever seen before. It is insanely sharp. You can do that with a 5090. You really can. There we go. Butter. And back up again. But my point is that even with a lower GPU, something like a 4070 Ti Super, maybe a 3090, maybe a 3080 even, I'm not sure, but, and of course the AMD equivalent, you're going to be able to run the Crystal Super better with this module than the standard module. I think, as I said before, that's bigger news than even the increased visual fidelity. Oh, God, that is so nice. That is so good. And I just wanted to make a little video about it, really. I'm going to make 2 videos today, actually. So I'm probably going to be, wearing the same shirt, but never mind. But that's the first video. It's just a very quick, raw, rough and ready sort of conclusion, really, I guess. And just to say that unexpectedly, because I did not expect to say this, I really didn't. For me, the 57 ppd module is absolutely mind-blowing. I love it, and mainly for 2 reasons. It is because of that increased clarity, but even bigger than that is the better performance. I would rather have a slightly decreased field of view, but able to run MSFS 2024 with ultra settings, with higher clarity. That to me is more important than an extra bit of field of view. But you could be different. And have a think about that and what is more important to you in a VR headset. Is it absolute clarity, eye comfort, or is it huge field of views? Like the ultra wide, I think I got 136 degrees or something like that, which is insanely large, but you do get a decrease in binocular overlap. I can still fly in that for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but for me, I prefer long sessions and real sharp visuals with a very comfortable overlap, and this has it. But the great thing is you do have options now. So that will do for this video. I'm now going to fly over to Finland and Sibson in Peterborough, enjoying my last day with my motion rig before taking it down, because hopefully, fingers crossed, we are moving house. Yeah, I think I still have a little discount code if you want to buy a Crystal Super and support the channel. That's not why I make these videos at all. You know, I'm completely impartial. I've always been like that and always will be. I call Pimax out when they do things wrong, but I also call them out when they do things right. And I've got to say, the Crystal Super is an absolute powerhouse of a PC VR headset, and for flight simulation, it is the best out there. It really is for most of you out there. With the eye tracking, it's working so well in MSFS 2024 and DCS World. You get fantastic, boosts in clarity and performance with this headset. And it's solid, it works really, really well. I think the only major issue that some people might struggle with is that this headset does have mirror. My headset has mirror, folks. I haven't been picked, like a really perfect display. I have striping. I can see it now. If I look at that cloud layer, I can see a little bit of striping. But I think it's all about trade-offs here, and there are other headsets out there that cater for certain types of users. For example, the Megan X is still my favourite headset, personal favourite headset, because of the micro OLED visuals, the form factor, and there's just no mirror in that display at all. However, that headset, well, actually is not as clear and crisp as the Crystal Super 57 PPD module. It's not as bright either. It doesn't have eye tracking. It's also got inside-out tracking, whether the Megan X has you need base stations. It's more money. Overall, I think this is an exceptional package in 2025 for a flight simmer. It really is. Right, that'll do, folks. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please feel free to subscribe. And if you'd like to see full flights on the channel, just give me a shout, because obviously long-form content is not something that does so well. Although, to be fair, recently my full flights have done very well. I think overall, you prefer these concise videos of just information. But in any case, give me some feedback on the channel. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you again very soon. Take care, and bye for now.